time. It is a lot of fun. And yeah, I couldn't be more excited. So if you can, give us a subscription. If you are an Amazon Prime member, give us some of those Bezos bucks. We would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching after the fact, we still really appreciate you giving us your time. Drop us a like, a comment, a subscribe. Just help us out with that algorithm, get us near the top. And tell you what, if you are leaving a comment, let us know what you plan on playing at some of these RCQs coming up if you think you'll be attending. Last but not least, if you like any of the cards that you're seeing, you can come down to the fabulous Fairview Heights where Impact Gaming Center is located, try and pick them up, or you can order them online at impactgamingcenter.gg. We've got great stock all the time. With that, let's no further ado, let's get in here. Dan's affinity list is not like an affinity list you've seen before. He is playing, I think it is, what's that color combo? It's blue, black, and red. He's got thought monitors and blood fountains, and this big beater of a card is Imskir Iron Eater. So really, which has this really great effect. I'm actually going to go ahead and get it pulled up on Scryfall for you guys because I wouldn't blame you if you're not super familiar with this guy. So let's take a look at what Imskir does. Let's read over this guy together. He's got affinity for artifacts. It's going to cost you Rakdos and 6. When he enters, you're going to draw X cards, lose X life, where X is half the number of artifacts you control rounded down. You can then pay 4 to sack an artifact, deal damage equal to the sacrificed artifact's mana value to any target. That might sound mediocre, but when you are throwing a 7 CMC Thought Monitor at somebody, it is a really big deal. So let's turn our attention to the players real quick. Look at that. Dan off to the races. Glimmer Void immediately with a blood fountain. Make a blood token. Keegan's gonna fetch off that wooded foothills.
Where are our players getting these tokens? I love these tokens that are coming. They're coming out of everybody. We need to have our own tokens.
We do, and these are beautiful. Let me tell you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Keegan looks like he's on his tried and true. I think he's absolutely in love with his deck. It looks like he's on Ruby Storm.
And Keegan has been playing this deck for a very long time. Those of you who have been watching Impact for a while, and even if you haven't, something that you will discover about Keegan is that he has been playing Ruby Storm for a very, very, very long time. He won our RCQ last modern season with it. He's a very seasoned player. He knows what he's doing. He's looking for the lines, and you can see him analyzing his hand right now and seeing what his wins are. Dan, on the other hand, Dan is the guy where he frequents Impact, but you will not see him playing the same list twice. He loves to try new things. He loves to experiment with fun decks. We've seen him play Jeskai Creativity, where he's playing a Song of Creation, I believe. We saw him at the RCQ playing Lantern Control. Now we've got him here playing such an interesting affinity list. This is the refurbished familiar that is going to make your opponent discard a card when it shows up. Really interesting text. All right, so Refurbished Familiar is a really interesting card. Affinity for artifacts for 4 with flying. Makes your opponent discard a card. So very, very interesting and frankly, potent card.
It's standard. Back to motion.
Now you're gonna hear me and Hobbs in the background. We're gonna be playing with this motion camera we had because it decided it really liked Hobbs and wanted to get very close up. So we're seeing if we can't just patch that up real quick. See if we can't clean it up just a tiny bit for you guys. So while we were playing with this camera, we missed something super, super important. Which was Keegan resolved a Ruby Medallion. Now, Dan's not exactly playing a counter magic deck, but oh my goodness, we know how powerful that can be. Dan misses his land drop. He does not get to start creating constructs, and we know how devastating those can be. Those can be really, really powerful and honestly can put off a lot of damage. So I am really excited to see how that goes. All right, we fixed the camera. We are never touching it again.
That's right.
Let's put our focus into what's going on with Keegan here, who has got 3 reducers on the table. So, chat, while that can be insane to have, at the same time, you really only need 1, and 2 is really cool. So, Keegan is hoping to find some gas. And am I looking at 3 rituals right now?
It looks like it. It looks like two pyretic rituals and a desperate ritual.
So I tell you what would go crazy here, Hobbs. An impulse draw of any kind. Glimpse the unthinkable would be pretty cool. But Dan is missing his land drops. His Urza Saga is going to pop. He's going to float the mana. So while Keegan may not have the ability to go off quite yet, he may have the time to draw into it while Dan looks for his mana.
Yeah, Keegan just really needs any kind of payoff this time around.
Absolutely.
So, like, even if he finds a wish, I think he's in good shape.
With triple reducer on the table, you betcha. Yeah, he'll cast anything in that sideboard. Now, Dan opts to find a Tormod's Crypt, which is a really great choice here to deal with a Past in Flames when it comes out. It gets around the silence and the Orum's chance that these Ruby Storm decks are trying to play. Dan notably did find the Glimmer Void. He picked up another land. It's kind of unfortunate that he didn't get it earlier, but at least he has it now. And yeah, 4 artifacts on the table. That's a thought cast for 1. And oh my goodness, look at these life totals that I've neglected to update. Let me fix that right up for you guys.
So Dan was talking to me earlier, and he was most of us know what each other is playing for the most part, especially if it's a regular deck we play. Like, a lot of people know I'm on Amulet. A lot of people know Keegan plays Ruby Storm. Dan knew that Keegan's on Ruby Storm, and he was very concerned about this matchup. He goes, I don't know if I win. Because I don't know if I can win this game. He goes, just most of the time he's gonna put a reducer into play and then storm off. I go, well, yeah, that's kind of what the deck does. I go, but no matchup's over until game 3 or 2 is over. So
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And I think that Dan might be right that this is a really scary matchup for him. The Ruby Storm, I mean, you really need to be playing interactive decks to do well against Ruby Storm. But just like you were saying, Hobbs, Keegan's not seeing it. We're still looking at a bunch of rituals, and Dan's board is growing and growing. He didn't find a 3rd land, but he found a Springleaf Drum. There's another land, so Dan is going crazy. He's going to give it a classic Dan nod, letting us know he likes what he sees, and he's going to start doing some math, seeing what he can accomplish here. So, let's do some math with Dan, if you will. We're looking at 6 damage on the table. An Imskir Iron Eater. I think next turn, yeah, I think Keegan's on a 1-turn clock here. I think Dan's going to have the ability to get him 1 turn away from lethal.
Here comes the Iron Eater.
Yep. It's going to draw Dan a bunch of cards. The cost of a bunch of life. Count them up, round it down. Boom. But here's the thing. Next turn, Imscure Iron Eater gets the option to throw this 7 CMC Thought Monitor at Keegan. Oh no, with these Mox Opals, he might be able to do it this turn. I guess the only question is, can he get lethal here? We're seeing 6 damage on the table.
So that only looks like 13, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you know what that does mean? It means Keegan can't cast instants or sorceries, or he might just die to his own Ral. So in the camp I'm in, going to 1 life is absolutely the play that you make here. Put it all on the line and disable Keegan's deck.
Or Iron Eater can be done at instant speed.
You could also just respond to a trigger. Yeah,
Yep.
bait him into it.
Yep.
Well, so here's the problem, though. He doesn't have the mana for it right away. He has to activate the Opal, float the mana, cast the next Opal to sack the other one. That's how he's going to find 4 mana.
Okay.
So it's not quite that available to him yet.
I think I would just be throwing the thought monitor at his face because a storm
Yeah.
deck that can't cast a lot of instants and sorceries,
Mm-hmm.
not that good.
Seems like a good play. All right, Dan gonna send it back. Yeah, and Keegan just scoops it up. Keegan doesn't find it. So that's one of the things about these combo decks is that um, they can be really, really strong, but sometimes you just don't have it. You just don't find it. And that's what we saw with Keegan. He had all those reducers. That hand looked so good, and it just didn't pan out. He just did not find the payoffs. He didn't find the impulse draws. And hey, that's Magic's Gathering. That's the game we love. So these players are going to get to sideboarding. I'm going to turn up the table mic pretty loud, so hopefully we can hear these, hear a little bit of table bench and hear them talk about the game. Though right now they're both being real silent, so we may, you may be coming back to us in the booth in no time. Oh yeah, they are not talking chat. They are thinking hard about their boarding decisions. So we're just gonna walk that plan back real quick.
Keegan is one of the friendliest people at our store actually. So
Absolutely.
I don't know about Dan. I talked to him a little bit uh, because his buddy was in the top 8 of the RCQ, but me and him haven't had a lot of interactions.
Yeah, Dan is a really good guy. He is a really good guy. Honestly, Dan just loves playing Magic. He loves trying out decks. He loves doing new things and not personality wise because they're both really nice people, but Dan is kind of the polar opposite of Keegan and how they like to play Magic. That Keegan has been a tried and true Ruby Storm player for as long as I've known him, over a year now. Ever since MH3 has come out, Ruby Storm was kind of the breakout deck, and that's what Keegan's been playing. He's, don't get me wrong, he's tried new iterations. He's done the Boros version, the Izzet version, the Gruul version. He's done them all, but Keegan has been really committed. Meanwhile, Dan, I don't think I've seen him on the same deck uh, 2 weeks in a row. I've seen Lantern Control. I mentioned that Song of Creation deck earlier. Seen him play some Prowess. Now a really neat Affinity list. Um, so yeah, Dan is really just loves to try out what's out there and enjoy all the game Magic has to offer. Now, Dan is showing Imskir off to Keegan here, talking over how it works. Imskir is a really potent card. It can be really, really powerful. The card draw attached to it can be really impressive. It's an interesting card that never really got traction, mostly because of its Rakdos colors. It made it hard to fit in the existing affinity lists. But yeah, it turns out Glimmer Void taps for any color of mana, Springleaf goes for any color, Mox Opal goes for any color. It looks like people kind of figured out that this was not an impossible card to play, and maybe it was worth it.
Yeah, Keegan may just be asking to see the Iron Eater,
Hmm.
so that way he knows what it does.
Yeah,
So
I would not blame Keegan for not being familiar with this card right away. And what a fun matchup. I mean, it is always fun getting to see what Dan has got planned and what he's doing. Um, but yeah, it looks like now their boarding's done. Now they're having a good time chatting. They're no more thinking. And I bet Keegan did have to think pretty hard about that because this is not a deck you see very often. This is not the kind of deck where you go, yep, Frog, I know what I board into Frog, and I'm grabbing my 8 and taking out these 8 and good to go. Took a lot of thought, and I don't exactly know what Keegan has in the sideboard, but I know there's quite a bit of artifact hate. So I bet you Keegan's bringing all of that in and is going to hope to be seeing that in his opening hand.
I was about to say, was he on the White Splash? Right? Am I
Keegan is
that
on
right?
the White Splash,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So he probably has some amount of prismatic endings.
That
So
wear and tear is
yep,
going to be really good.
wear and tear. So that should at least help deal with some of the hate that
Mhm.
Dan will probably be bringing in. I'm not sure what Dan can have. I'm not familiar with these lists, so I imagine Dan has some sort of game plan against Storm.
Hmm.
Although he was saying he was a little light of interaction when I was talking to him.
Yes. Now, I could be wrong. I think I just saw Dan flicking through his sideboard, and I think I spotted 2 damping spheres.
Yep.
But I don't know if he brought him in. Based on the pile he put him in, I don't know that he did.
Right.
But damping sphere is a really, really great card into energy. I'm sorry, into storm. Kind of demands an answer if you want to go off into it. All right. There's the sideboard of Dan. Keegan's presented the deck for a cut. Riveting moments, guys. Riveting moments. Thank you for joining us here. Now, if you are just joining us, thank you so much for being here. If you are watching on Twitch, give us a subscription. Give us some of those Bezos bucks if you're on Amazon Prime member. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, like, subscribe, drop us a comment. Let us know what you'll be playing at these RCQs coming up. And just help get our algorithm taken care of, help more people see our videos, and draw more people to this channel where you get to see wonderful people play some wonderful Magic. If you like any of the cards that you're seeing, especially someone like Dan on a fun breakout list like this, something that could really be powerful and be great, check out Impact Gaming Center here at the fabulous Fairview Heights. You can find them here, and maybe you can find them online at impactgamingcenter.gg. Give them an order. But players are shuffling up. Dan is going to keep his 7. Keegan's going to keep his 7. And Keegan is going to go ahead and surveil ski on the play. So I'm looking at a really good hand from Keegan for the immediate. I'm seeing a reducer and artist's talent, and I'm seeing a good mix of rituals and impulse draws. He's not too heavily skewed on anything. The only true downside with artist's talent is it is a really slow reducer, and I just saw a damping sphere in Dan's hand. Oh my.
Yep, I was just getting ready to bring that up. It looks like Dan does have the damping sphere, so Keegan is on a bit of a clock unless he does have a way to answer it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But notice we're not seeing a second land in Dan's hand. We see the Springleaf Drum, but he really needs an Ornithopter, something he can just throw onto the board to let him resolve that damping sphere. But let's see how this goes. Dan could always find it off the top, especially with his bobble. Oh, I couldn't quite tell if that was a land that he found. It was. It's a Glimmer Void. Wow.
Here we go.
This could be disastrous. So Keegan's going to do the math. He's going to start thinking. Something that these Storm players can do, they can go off on turn 2. It is possible. Let's see. And I think Keegan's doing the math. He's in the tank. He's thinking about it. He's looking at the Ral in his hand. I think that might be a Ruby next to the Ral. And I think Keegan's thinking, can I do it? Is it possible for me to go off, or do I wait a turn? And Dan is sitting there thinking, please don't go off yet. I need another turn to get this damping sphere on the table.
So one thing I like to think about is in different matchups, which one do you play first, the Ruby Medallion or the Ral?
That's a really great question. We should ask Keegan that after the game, because I'm not a super seasoned Ruby Storm player, but I'll tell you what, I really prefer to see the Ruby first, because I play Force of Negations in my list and Consigns in my sideboard.
Right.
I can definitely tag that Ruby Medallion with one of those, and I'm probably waiting for it. Ral is this really interesting card because I would really like to take my Fatal Pushes out in game 2. And Ral says, that's a bad idea. You don't get to do that.
Yeah.
All right, there he does. So he throws the Medallion out, but he does not try to go off. He doesn't attempt to do a Writ and then Medallion. And it may just be because he doesn't have enough card draw. But this is the opening for Dan. Dan's going to go ahead and do it. I just love the little tokens Dan uses to get his lore counters going. Earlier, he had those wooden chips. Now he's got the duckies. There's the damping sphere. Keegan letting us know that's a tough card to see. He's going to have to figure out how is he going to get through that.
He did pull a card to the front of his hand, so he may have an answer.
There he goes. So that's the classic Keegan. When he looks up and away, that is thinking Keegan. He has got something on his mind, and he is trying to figure out how he can do this. He's going to shock it in. That's so interesting. I am really curious to see what we're planning. He's going to throw out the Ral. He can't cast the artist's talent. It's going to cost 1 more. He can't do that. It's going to cost 1 more from Damping Sphere.
It's reduced.
Oh, it's reduced.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, this is what we keep someone else in the booth for. Keep me honest. Holy cow.
It's still reduced under Emerald. Not Emerald.
Medallion. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
One of the gems.
Yeah. So here's the thought. Last game, Keegan kind of got screwed on having so many reducers. Do you think the play is to play a ton of reducers into the damping sphere and kind of ignore that it exists?
I don't know, because you can only reduce so many
So many damping sphere
So
triggers.
yeah, so many damping sphere things.
But if you can impulse draw enough until he finds an artifact
Mhm.
height, that might be the plan, is that he needs to do this long enough. But we'll just have to see what Keegan's planning. His hand right now, a Manamorphose, a Pyretic Ritual, and an Orum's Chant.
The main thing I would be thinking right now is I'm not under a ton of pressure. Like my opponent doesn't even have a creature in play right now.
Yes. Yes.
So I wouldn't really be feeling threatened right now.
Agreed. I'm taking my time. I'm being patient. I'm casting the artist's talent. I'm leveling up the artist's talent. I agree with you there, Hobbs.
Yeah. He does have an orange chant in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever that's worth. We'll figure that out as the game goes on. But he's shuffling them around. I can't really see a whole lot other than that.
All right, Dan's gonna grab a Graph Digger's Cage. It's a good choice.
All right.
So this is one of those things that is really powerful about Urza Saga, is that you get to play this toolbox of 0 and 1 cost artifacts in your deck, and you get to pull out whichever ones work best for the individual matchup. And here we are, and Urza Saga breaks, and Dan goes and finds a Graph Digger's Cage, and it's going to make it a little difficult for a Past in Flames from Keegan to help him go off. Yep, refurbish familiar, discard a card. Keegan, ooh, trying to decide what he doesn't like. If I'm Keegan, okay, Keegan doesn't like the Pyretic Ritual. If I'm Keegan, I don't like Orum's Chant because Dan's not on a super control list, but maybe he wants the chant to save himself combat for a turn. But I guess it doesn't matter because a second refurbished familiar comes down.
Keegan may be thinking that Dan might have force negation because he has seen blue out of his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So he could have boarded in force negation or consigned to memory. So he might have been hedging his bets and boarding in the orange chant. And worst case scenario, if you pay 2 white, he doesn't get to cast spells, he doesn't get to attack.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
he turned a lot of creatures sideways last game.
he did. And that's a really, really great insight there, Hobbs. I appreciate that dearly.
I don't play Ruby Storm a lot, but I play Ruby Storm sometimes.
Yeah, and you know what? Hobbs was actually here round 1 playing
Yeah.
Ruby Storm on camera for us.
Me and Dakota, we just seem to play round 1 a lot. I think it's been 2 or 3 FNMs in a row we've played round 1. So
That's what they call the moto bug.
yeah, right.
All right, let's see what's going on.
It's like they're arranging us in alphabetical order because whenever we do pre-releases, they arrange us in alphabetical order, and me and Dakota always sit by each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Oh, that's a top deck for Keegan. That's a top deck for Keegan right there. That's what he needs to see.
So Perez is saying he doesn't understand how most players don't play Aria of Flames in their decks. Do you want to go ahead and pull that up and we can talk about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember Aria of Flames from, goodness, I want to say it was Gift Storm that used to play it, and a few Ruby Storm players. Yeah, that's the card. Used to run Aria of Flames. Let me get that pulled up, and let's, once again, Hobbs, read this for the team.
So whenever Aria of Flames enters the battlefield, each opponent gains 10 life. This is a 3-mana enchantment, costs 2 and a red. And then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you put a verse counter on Aria of Flames. Then it deals damage equal to the number of verse counters on it to target player or planeswalker. So this would be a juke out of the sideboard where even Keegan casting spells will eventually get rid of his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main reason people don't play this card is because Sun Cleanser exists and can remove. There's a lot of things that are running around that just remove counters off of things.
Yeah. And I actually think that's really interesting. I saw a lot of Aria of Flame, and I could be wrong here, but yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying there, MJ for Prez. I'm hearing what you're saying because, or sorry, what Hobbs was saying there is the Sun Cleanses were really popular, especially as the energy deck was this nightmare. People were playing a lot of Sun Cleansers in their sideboard to help turn off energy, turn off the Amp Trap or ETB, and all that good stuff. And so people weren't as excited to be playing something that relies on counters. But I think that you might be onto something. Aria of Flame could make a comeback. There's another Ruby Storm player who we've seen at Impact previously, who was a very big Aria of Flame player, and we got to see them go off with it a few times. So it may very well be good. You're saying you main 2 of them. That's an interesting idea.
Well, I would definitely like to see your deck list if you're in the local area. Don't be afraid to stop on by. We're out in the fabulous Fairview Heights.
Absolutely. You can find us online, and we would be happy to have you join us for an FNM.
We could even do a deck tech for you if you want.
Absolutely.
So get you to talk about some stuff.
Yeah. Tell us, why do you love Aria of Flame? Why does it work in your deck, and what are some situations that it's helped you in?
Northern Indiana.
Hey, there's some nice hotels nearby. We are right near. What is that hotel we're right next to?
I don't know actually.
Yeah, there's a hotel right down the street from us. But hey, I realize that's a bit of a trek. But hey, regardless, thank you for joining us all the way from Northern Indiana. Pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Now, turn our attention to the game. Keegan has found a couple impulse draws. He's drawn some stuff. He's seen some cards. He's flipped his Ral, and he made the decision to go ahead and flip the Ral because kind of realized, hey, I'm not gonna get this guy to ult unless I can deal with that damping sphere, and I need to clean these refurbished familiars off the table. And that's exactly what he did. He flipped the Ral. He used the rarely seen -2 ability, -1 ability, rarely seen. I can't even remember it, and did some damage to clear those refurbished familiars, buying Keegan a little bit more time. He's looking at another unflipped Ral, and he's also looking at a Desperate Ritual in Exile that he can cast on his next turn. Metallic Rebuke in the hand for Dan.
Keegan, the sneaky genius for bringing in the
That orange chant. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Hobbs proven himself right. As per usual, a genius in the booth. But yeah, Dan just plays the Lava Spur and goes. So while Keegan doesn't have the ability to go off yet, this looks really, really good for Keegan. He has some time. He can breathe. Now, Lava Spur Boots giving haste to whatever shows up could change that very quickly. But the goal here for Keegan, he just top decked another Glimpse the Unthinkable. He's really interested in just firing it off and finding some cards. Quick discussion about Damping Sphere. Quick discussion about reducers.
Yeah. So everything gets applied at the same time. Well, not at the same time. In the rules it says apply cost increasers, cost decreasers, then Trinisphere. You have to apply
Yep.
Trinisphere.
Yep.
That is a special rule, and then you determine the mana cost of the spell.
Yes. So right now, Glimpse is -3, and
Yep.
Damping Sphere is saying you are +2.
Yep.
So it is still costing Keegan 1 red to play.
What a deal! What a deal!
And there he goes. He finds odd. He's not going to flip this Ral. Legend Rule would take care of it. So he's digging. Oh no. Oh no. That's not what Keegan wants to see. All right. He's going to fetch. He's going to 9. So Manamorphose is great and all, but Keegan doesn't really want to see it right now. He's really dying to see a Wear and Tear, a Prismatic Ending. He needs something to take care of this Damping Sphere. And hey, shout out to Dan's hat. Great looking hat he's got on. All right. Yeah, so Morphos should still cost... Oh. Can go for the writ. Yeah, go ahead and get the writ into the graveyard. He doesn't want that ritual to go into exile for not casting it. If that happens and Keegan finds a Past in Flame, he'll be kicking himself for it, so... Yeah, no damage, but we're not flipping that Ral. So right now, Damping Sphere says Manamorphose costs 3 less, but Keegan with 3 reducers says Damping Sphere says Manamorphose costs 3 additional, but all Keegan's reducers say it costs 3 less.
I don't know what Keegan has in his hand, but it must be pretty important because he's not discarding it to the
Artist's talent. Yeah. He likes it.
Yeah.
And if you're Dan, that's a scary sign, because that could be a Past in Flames. Now, it's not a Past in Flames that Keegan wants to resolve right now, but he could be setting up for a really big next turn. Okay, another Morphos, and we know the other card in his hand is a Mountain, so scratch everything we just said. That's what Keegan was holding on to. Now we're going to trigger Artist's Talent. Now we're going to pitch the Mountain.
You have to say whether you're going to discard to Artist Talent whenever you cast the spell. So before it resolves.
Correct. Yep. All right, here goes Manamorpho. Still odds. So Keegan rolling all odds here. Avoiding the damage. Keegan is always rolling for odds with his route.
Oops, all odds.
Yep, yep. He's going to get some mana, and he's going to check out the card he just drew. And let's see what the plan is. Yep, he's going to pass it to Dan. Scalding Tarn should go to the graveyard. Yes, that was off Glimpse. Glimpse hit 2 Scalding Tarns and a Manamorphose, right?
I think Glimpse says until the end of your next turn. Doesn't it?
No, sir. That's all the other impulse draws.
Oh, okay.
Glimpse is the one that specifically says this turn, and it goes to the graveyard and makes scions for him.
Okay. Well, I can go say something.
Yeah, real quick before that matters, because Keegan might be counting on that for his land drop next turn. Hobbs is going to go let him know real quick just before it becomes important. Got some Thoughtcast action, drawing some cards. So, we were talking about Dan doesn't have a threat right now. He doesn't have anything too scary. And yet, now he has a Kappa Cannoneer in his hand. That card will do a lot of damage. Get really big, really fast. Yep, players are checking it out. Keegan's talking about it.
So you're right. That's supposed to be enough.
Yeah, there we go. Scalding Tarn in the bin. Scion made. There we go. Thank you, Hobbs, for running out there and doing that. Foot Soldier for Impact Gaming Center, we appreciate you greatly. And a beloved member of the Clan Impact team. And there's Hobbs joining us back in the booth. Thank you for doing that, Hobbs. We appreciate
No problem.
you.
Anytime.
Now, Keegan, unfortunately, Keegan's not super in love with that anyway. That Scion's not going to do him much good. But we're at FNM. We do this to get better at the game. Oh my goodness, there's a Past in Flames. Okay. This could get intense. Now, Keegan does not have a way to remove the Damping Sphere yet. That's what Keegan desperately needs. He has got to get this Damping Sphere off the table so that he can start going crazy. As long as that Damping Sphere is still around. Yeah, as long as that Damping Sphere is still around, Keegan is going to have a harder time going off. But with all these reducers, it's looking pretty good. He's going to roll a 6. He's going to take a damage. There's the Metallic Rebuke that we talked about earlier. Oh no. You know Keegan is feeling that.
If only artifacts still turned off when you tapped them.
Yes.
Trinosphere still does. That's in the ability of the card.
One of the most forgotten abilities.
Well, used to mono artifacts would shut off when you tapped them. That's how it used to work. The only reason I got to find that out is because I was playing Cube with somebody. I didn't know it used to work that way, but he didn't know it changed since then. And so
Interesting.
yeah, both of our minds were being blown because I didn't know it used to work like that, and he didn't know it changed. So yeah, because he tried to tap my Sword of Body and Mind to shut it off.
Right. To say no more Sword of Body and no more Sword of Mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of that. But,
Yeah, so
that's so interesting.
yeah. So when I hit him, he goes, "Your sword's off." I go, "No, it's not." And so somebody that was like the judge of the Cube event, he came over and he explained it to me. That is how artifacts used to work, but they don't work like that anymore.
Interesting. That's so unique. What a blast from the past. I think Magic has got to be one of the most storied trading card games ever.
Yeah.
I think that, I think I speak for all of us when I say I would love to see an anime style of Magic the Gathering's world like we had with Yu-Gi-Oh! That would be a lot of fun. Dan scoops it up.
Did he select lose the game on his demonic pact? Did I miss something? I don't.
Huh.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So maybe we missed something while we were talking. Let us know in the chat what it is we just missed out on. But yeah, what an interesting game. So from where I was sitting, I thought Keegan needed to go find the a artifact removal of some kind, and he put a Past in Flames on the table, but it just wasn't quite what he needed. Just because he saw a bunch of stuff in his graveyard, maybe he impulse draw flipped something, but I thought that that Damping Sphere would have kept the Past in Flames from going too crazy. But Dan elects to scoop it up anyway, so very interesting. I'll have to chat with the players about that afterward. Maybe we missed something. We were kind of having an off-topic conversation there for just a moment. I mean, look away for a second and things change.
Yeah.
That's what we get around here. But yeah, what a barn burner of a game. Dan really playing very clean.
Oh, he cast Brotherhood's End. That's what happened.
Thank you so much.
There we
Thank
go.
you so much. Grat 510. That is the piece we were missing. Yeah. See, this is what Twitch chat is for, keeping us honest, making sure we aren't missing things. Thank you greatly. But yeah, that'll do it. Remove the Damping Sphere. And then I totally agree with Dan's perspective. I'm not watching you spin around this Past in Flames for 8 minutes to do this thing. Keegan didn't even bring a coloring book. I'm scooping it up. Let's go to game 3. Let's try it out and see what happens. So players pretty quick with their boarding decisions. It doesn't look like they're going to change anything yet. Pretty satisfied with their choices. So let's go ahead and turn this back over to the players. And they are having some conversation this time, all right? No stoic faces. So we're going to send it to them, and we're going to turn up the table mic, and we're going to hear what they have to say.
Watch they stop talking.
Yeah.
Keegan with that rapid fire. Go back to 20.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta reset it.
Good luck, dude.
You as well, man.
There we go. All right, well, turns out, folks, I missed it once again, but we do get to hear the good luck, folks. So let's see what they have going on. Very fast hand for Dan with an Urza Saga and a Mox Opal. Dan, they're both going to keep 7 off to the races. Urza Saga immediately with the Tormod's Crypt. Yep, make that Past in Flames look a lot less attractive. And Dan, it doesn't look like he has a whole lot for artifacts right now, but this Urza Saga is going to start pumping out Constructs. Well, he let it turn 1, but with the Mox Opal and an artifact land, he can get it going. But we'll just have to see if that materializes. MJ for Prez says, I still fight for a slot between Brotherhood's End and Meltdown. And I think that's totally valid. I think Meltdown is so powerful. I think there's a deck that after Underworld Breach got banned, people are looking at how they can still make the $1,000 they put into Mox Opals and other cards in their Grinding Station deck to still work. So Jeskai Ascendancy is starting to be a thing that works. And we're seeing this new artifact out of the Dragonstorm set come out with called Corey Steelcutter. Really great 2 CMC prowess type artifact. Very strong. And kind of what we're starting to see is Meltdown. I could be wrong, but I'm starting to think Meltdown looks like a really, really great option. All right, gonna deploy the Lava Spur Boots. We are gonna miss out on 1 Construct, but that is all right. Construct plus Lava Spur Boots next turn will be a lot of damage. So the question that we all have now is, does Keegan get to go off here? Dan is, I mean, I've played this Ruby Storm matchup a lot, and I know how Dan's feeling right now. It is so much stress. He's looking at his hand thinking, I've got a lot of damage and it can come in, but oh my goodness, if he goes off, it's just over. He's got 2 lands and an M-Skier. He's got no control, no interaction. He's just praying, Keegan, don't go off. Oh, and Keegan's going off. He's threatening to do it. He's going to throw out a ritual. Dan puts his hand face down. He locks in. He's looking in. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's a Rowlin' hand. Oh, ritual into Reducer. Yep. This is getting really sketchy. Hobbs, when you were sitting across from a Ruby Storm player, you see him do this on turn 2. What are you feeling?
Oh, I'm not feeling great. Well, good news is he's going to 0 red mana because he cast the Ral into the Reckless Impulse. So okay,
Suddenly, you're feeling a lot better.
I'm
Out
feeling
of
a lot
nowhere.
better. That's right.
Now, this is a great way from Keegan to go ahead and get a Reducer onto the table. We're going to flip
Oh,
this
he is going to
Ral.
flip it. Okay.
I tell you, wow, okay. Oh, and he's going to find another ritual. That's big. Ritual land drop.
One thing I
Damping sphere off the top for Dan.
oh,
Oh my goodness, what a draw. What a draw.
judge my opponent has it all.
Judge my opponent has it all is right. Dan, if I'm you, hey, let's forget about the construct, buddy.
It's okay.
We don't need it anymore.
It's okay.
We don't need it anymore. We found something else.
It's okay. There's a
Oh,
saga
no.
can go.
He's doing it. He's doing it anyway. Okay. Dan is going to commit to it. He's going to say, I did not come here to play damping spheres. I came here to play some artifacts. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's making some constructs. If I'm Dan, I give up on that plan. I throw the damping sphere right away. I say, absolutely not. I am not going to watch you go off with a reducer on the table. No way. I'm letting you untap with that. So,
Ooh, he was reaching for portable hole, which is not something you can find off Urza Saga, by the way.
it is not, because portable hole costs 1 white, and Urza Saga specifically states that it can be a 0 or 1 generic mana value. Oh,
Ooh, good old pithing needle.
What
Okay.
a playoff, Dan. All right. So, yeah, that's going to turn on. So, keep in mind, Ral is not a reducer as a static effect on the Planeswalker side. It's actually his +1 ability. So, by hitting the pithing needle here, Keegan just lost his reducer. I gotta say, I would have deployed the pithing needle, but Dan might have made a better play anyway. I'm sorry, I might have deployed the damping sphere, not the pithing needle, the damping sphere, but Dan might have found a better line. Big construct here with those lava spur boots. Hits for a lot of damage.
Well, it looks like Keegan also has a ruby in his hand.
Oh, pithing needle. Yep, point it out to him. Yep, it's still
There we
needle.
go.
It's still needle.
Get it?
Yeah, Dan, get a glance at the camera. Say, get it all over to this guy. All right.
Yep.
Keegan's gonna go ahead and fetch off that Tarn. Watching Dan rip that damping sphere off the top just locked me into this game. What a draw. What a way for this to go. Great plays from these players. What an exciting opportunity we get to be here. There it is.
Yep.
So Keegan does have another reducer and another one. Wow, that is 3 games in a row where Keegan is looking at 3 instances of reducers. That might sound really, really good, but you also need some gas. You need some ways to go off and to find the cards that you're looking for. That is what this Ren's Resolve is looking to do. He's gonna go find a couple more cards, see what he's got. Boom. Prismatic Ending and Grape Shot. Wow. Okay. So let's talk over the dynamic of what this means. This is actually really, really awkward for Keegan, and here's why. That Grape Shot is only available to him on this turn and the next. Then it will stay in exile if he doesn't cast it. This kind of forces Keegan to go off either right now or next turn. Really constricts Keegan's ability to play slow. Otherwise, he's going to have to go for the Wish game plan or a Past in Flames to find it from the yard. Finding the Grape Shot right now just makes it really awkward. The Prismatic Ending gives him the opportunity to eat the Damping Sphere. But Keegan may not be playing around that. This Construct is hitting for a lot of damage. Keegan might think about pending the Construct with the Lava Spur Boots on it, and the Damping Sphere might follow, and he might get blown out. So we'll have to see what the thought process is. But those 2 cards flipped off Ren's Resolve are so impactful for this game. So much to unpack there.
Second ruby.
Yep, he says, more reducers. Give me more.
Unfortunately, this damping sphere coming down on Dan's end might be pretty devastating on the following turn.
Yeah, Prismatic Ending does not have the cost reduced by these medallions. And without being so Ral actually just reduces the cost of all instants and sorceries and not just red spells. So the Ral being pithing needled is really costing Keegan a clean Prismatic Ending, because what Keegan needs to do is pend the Damping Sphere and still have access to the mana to go off. And while he may have it, it really makes it difficult. And here we are in the high stress of game 3. You can see Keegan putting on his thinking cap.
No, okay.
He's grabbing the portable hole again.
He can't.
Oh,
Is Keegan gonna stop him?
Oh.
Nope. Hold on. I'll stop.
All right, all right. We got Hobbs going out there again. Hobbs doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much. Oh, Keegan got him just before Hobbs did. Just before Hobbs did, Keegan noticed it.
I was a little too trigger happy.
Yeah. No, Keegan noticed it just in time. Yep, there it is. GA Zardo says, Judge, yep, get him in here. Stop these shenanigans. Not having these around here. And hey, first time chatting with us. Thank you so much for joining us on the chat. Such a pleasure to have you here. And I gotta say, tell me, what are you thinking about this matchup? Dan's playing such an interesting deck, and playing it in such a masterful way too, might I add. And, Dan decides, hey, if I can't grab Portable Hole, I'm gonna get Craft Digger's Cage. Grab the cage. Cage plus Tormod's Crypt. He says, Keegan, I dare you to try and make a Past in Flames useful.
Right. That grape shot ending up in the graveyard, not
Yeah.
looking good every second.
Yeah, suddenly the ability to Past in Flames it looking worse and worse, which is just really showing how much of a masterclass Dan is putting off here. He's doing a really great job just establishing board presence and making it difficult. Imscure Iron Eater. Wow. Let's count them up, folks. Count
Give
up these
that guy
artifacts.
haste.
That is 6 artifacts on the table. Once again, Imscure comes with an attached Ancestral Recall. What a list from Dan. Now, let's see. We've still got a floating colorless, I believe. I think that's what that token represents, is the floating colorless off the Urza's Saga.
I believe so too.
Okay. Because he opted to pay 2 mana for Imscure, but that's because Imscure's Rakdos, so no generic mana. Now he's got access to a Wear and Tear to help deal with a Medallion. Still has access to a Damping Sphere if he wants to deploy that instead. Put a little Thopter out there. Yep, no cost. No harm, no foul. Damping Sphere. Oh, Keegan. Oh, man. I am sorry, buddy. This is tough. Huge Construct here. Count them up. Count them up for me. Yep, I'm not doing the math. Math is for blockers.
Although I think Dan's missing lethal here. If he moved that Lava Spur Boots over to his
Imscure?
Imscure, yeah, I think it'd be attacking for 12 here.
I think you just had it. But that's
But
all right.
with all the hate pieces in play, that's probably okay.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
Honestly, a relatively unimpactful play, but I think you're right that he technically had it. Keegan. Yeah, and Keegan is just fighting such an uphill battle here. He's got to deploy the pens to deal with the Damping Sphere. I just don't think there's another way to play this. I mean, he has to go off, and if he can't, he can't. But I just don't think Keegan has another choice. Oh, is that a Valakut?
Valakut Awakening?
Yeah. Because that could be really big for shuffling some of these cards away. And I think Keegan's trying to decide, am I making the land drop, or am I putting it on the bottom with my Valakut Awakening? Oh, goodness. What a game. What a game. Let's see what these players are talking about.
If you can melt down, for 2 and then kill me.
I don't have a milk.
Okay.
As in, like,
It's about the same.
Yeah.
I guess you can't wish for meltdown.
So, I gotta say, MJ for Prez, Meltdown is looking really good right here if Keegan had one.
Let's see.
Great case for your decision to think about Meltdown instead of Brotherhood's End.
That's so rough. I'll spend 1 on Valakut. There's no trigger.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put this on bottom, and I'll draw 2 cards.
Okay.
So Keegan does Valakut before Prismatic ending the Damping Sphere.
Good game.
Oh, and he finds 2 lands. Keegan scoops it up. Wow.
Holding up his signature card. Dan will probably be on feature in the next round too.
We will have to see. We did have about 40 players today, so a lot of Modern, but we'll have to see if we have more 4-0s. And I gotta say, what an exciting deck to see. Not one I'm familiar with. I don't think that's one popular in the meta, but I tell you what, I saw that mill guy, Safi Ashan, I think it is, who does some mill content normally. piloted this deck for an MTGO league, and that is the only other time I've seen this list. And Dan just put on a masterclass with it. Really did a great job finding Pithing Needle there. Was a really, really technically skilled play. So, wow, what a time. What a time. These players are great. And you know what? Those of you in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere. We've got one final round to do where these players will be playing for all the marbles, either a lot of packs or a lot of store credit. Otherwise, if you're watching on Twitch, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to give us a subscription, we would appreciate it endlessly. If you're an Amazon Prime member, shoot us some of those Bezos bucks. Use that free Twitch subscription that you get. If you're watching us after the fact on YouTube, we still appreciate you dearly. Thank you for giving us your time. Can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Drop us a like, a subscribe, and comment what kind of deck are you thinking about playing in the RCQ season we got going on. And yeah, just do those actions to help get us on the algorithm, get us on some people's, I don't think it's called a For You page for YouTube, a recommended page, I think it is. But yeah, help get us out there, get our wonderful videos promoted with our wonderful players. And last but not least, my favorite part of the call out. We saw some really cool cards. We saw a really cool deck. If you're thinking, wow, I want to build one of those, come down here to Impact Gaming Center in the fabulous Fairview Heights. See if you can pick them up. But if you're like some of our wonderful viewers there in northern Indiana, and maybe it's a little much of a drive, which, hey, I won't keep my feelings too hurt. I understand. You can order these cards online from impactgamingcenter.gg and get some great deals. And yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with us. This has been Lincoln.
This is Hobbs.
And hey, we'll see you next round. Don't go anywhere.
Yep.
Affinity.